She's well on her way to being one of the most successful coaches in South Dakota women's basketball history, and she'd soon have the milestone to prove it. How's everybody doing? I'm Jay Elsen, and this is Coyote Corner. In 2.5 seasons, Amy Williams accrued 49 victories in her first 82 games, leaving her one win shy of becoming the second fastest coach at USD to reach 50. Williams got her first chance to hit that mark Thursday night as the Coyotes traveled to Tulsa to take on Oral Roberts. Unfortunately, some of the same struggles that have plagued the Coyotes post-Christmas continued in an 81-65 loss to the Golden Eagles. USD got off to a slow start in this one and never recovered. They shot just 32% from the field, including a 3 of 11 mark from outside. The Yotes also turned it over 21 times, with 15 of those coming in the first half alone. It was the second time in 3 games that USD had given it away 20-plus times. South Dakota hoped to get the offense back on track in time for Saturday's matchup with Western Illinois, but they had their hands full on the defensive end with Ashley Luke. The Summit League's preseason player of the year went right to work. She scored 8 of Western's first 10 points to give the Leathernecks an early lead. Her counterpart was pretty good too, though. Margaret McLeod with a little help from Nicole Seecamp. McLeod was a perfect 5 for 5 in the first half. She finished with 16. The fire spread quickly for USD, particularly to the perimeter. Coyotes hit 7 first-half trays, shot 65% overall, helping them open up a 19-point halftime lead. And they were still hot to start the second. Rachel Contreras, the senior, matched her career high with 6 threes on her way to a team-high 24 points. Needless to say, the offense, which had struggled for much of the last 3 games, was wide awake for this one. Yotes put 6 players in double figures, and Amy Williams gets number 50 in impressive fashion. 101-87 the final. That's the most USD has ever scored against a D1 opponent, and it overshadows a big-time performance from Ashley Luke, who notched her 8th double-double in 16 games with 34 points and 15 rebounds. With the win, the Coyotes improved to 12-4 overall and 2-1 in the Summit League. The question now is, can the Coyotes carry that offensive momentum forward? We'll talk about that with head coach Amy Williams next.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by Billionauto.com.
And welcome back to Coyote Corner. Jay Elsen joined now by head coach of the USD women, Amy Williams. Amy, coming off a week in which you played 2 more on the road, and that's been a pretty frequent thing for you here of late. It started Thursday night in Tulsa against Oral Roberts. This is a bit of a new experience for your team because ORU had left the league for a couple of years. In fact, the last time the Coyotes and Golden Eagles met, only one of your players, Kelly Stewart, actually saw playing time in that game.
Yeah, Kelly was kind of talking to us a little bit about some of the things to expect about the Mabee Center, and she was telling us stories about the last time that she was in there, but not a lot of experience with that team. It was a unique experience to be playing a conference game against an opponent that we were so unfamiliar with, and obviously didn't handle the task very well, and hopefully now we can kind of make some adjustments for the next time that we get to see them.
Oral Roberts was 5-1 at home coming in, although they were 0-2 in the league. But obviously, anytime you're on the road, you want to try and play from ahead. And you didn't get a chance to do that because the baskets weren't falling. The shooting struggles that you'd gone through over the past couple of weeks continued on Thursday.
Yeah, I mean, we struggled to shoot it. There's no doubt about that. But I think even worse from my perspective was the turnovers. We had 15 turnovers at halftime of that game and just dug ourselves a 9-point deficit. We probably, frankly, were fortunate to only be down by 9 when you turn the basketball over that many times. Just some uncharacteristic and unforced turnovers where we were just throwing the ball around and not really taking care of things, and just didn't seem ready to really be sharp in that first half.
The good news is the offensive struggles, they went away. Saturday was an entirely different story for you on the offensive side of things. As you go to Western Illinois, playing a team that you beat, you saw last in the Summit League quarterfinals last year, and a team that had been playing pretty well to this point, and all you do is put up 101 points, the most you've ever scored against a Division I opponent. What was so different in that game for you offensively?
Well, we were just really clicking, and I'll tell you, I had one of my one of my girls came up to me as we were walking into the gym, and she said, "Coach, we're ready to play today," and she was not lying. I mean, I think we were just clicking on all cylinders. Everybody was contributing, making shots. We came in, we had great contribution from our bench in that ball game, and lots of scoring there, and you know, just had a lot of people really making plays for our team, and it was probably the best I'd seen our team play this year.
You mentioned the bench, and that was big in this game. You had 34 points from your reserves compared to 8 at Oral Roberts.
We had just had a discussion about how important it was that everybody brings something to the table, and I think you know, our players from top to bottom really took that to heart and found a way to come in and be ready to go, and we played particularly well offensively.
And 101 to 87 win at Western Illinois. And now you come home, it's rivalry week, and you get to host a couple of your biggest rivals in North Dakota State and South Dakota State. NDSU up first on Thursday. The Bison off to a surprising start in Summit League play. This is a team that was picked last in the league. They started 3-0 before losing at Denver on Sunday. Kind of a three-headed monster here with Brooke Lamar, Marita Whittle, and Holly Johnson. 3 girls who can really fill it up.
Absolutely. That's why, you know, it is a surprising start to some people, for many, but I think the coaches in our league are not surprised at all about the start that they're off to. They have 3 prolific scorers, and those 3 young ladies that you mentioned, they're a year-long, more experienced, and a new head coach that's really just brought kind of a renewed excitement, I think, for their program, and is doing a really good job. So, you know, outstanding team, and I think going to be a really tough challenge for us in the Dome on Thursday.
No surprise in anything that you're going to see on Saturday against South Dakota State. You know this team obviously very well. It was a team that really rolled through the non-conference schedule, but has all of a sudden hit some bumps in the road. They've lost 2 of their last 3 now in the league, including a loss to NDSU and a loss to IUPUI on Sunday. So the Jackrabbits not playing their best basketball, but obviously kind of a sleeping giant. When this team gets rolling, they're awfully hard to handle.
Absolutely, and I think, you know, when you look at that, they've had some really tough, challenging games to start the league play, and to go on the road to North Dakota State early, and on the road on that IUPUI, IPFW trip, which is so challenging, and so I think that's part of it, and I have no doubt that you know, they've got some young kids that are really contributing, that are going to just continue to improve and improve and improve, and they're going to be a tough challenge, no doubt.
It's going to be a fun week. Good luck to you. We'll see you back here next week.
Thanks, Jay.
All right, Amy. Well, the Coyote men continued their own road swing at Fort Wayne on Saturday. We'll have highlights from their matchup with the Mastodons when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
And welcome back. Well, 6 days after rallying for their first ever win in Denver, the USD men were looking to follow suit in Fort Wayne. The Coyotes entered the weekend 0 for 3 all-time at IPFW, with all 3 losses coming by 6 points or less. Coyotes came into this one hoping to find a way to slow down Don's big man Steve Forbes, but that is easier said than done. Forbes with a high percentage finish here. Start of a big night for him. Trey Norris not intimidated. He takes it right at Forbes to put the Coyotes up 4. Fort Wayne responds with Mo Evans. He scored 14 of his 16 points in the first half, and we're tied at 28. Coyotes regained the edge before the half. Tyler Larson connects for 2 of his 14. USD up 1 at the break. Second half, Coyotes get it into their own big man. James Hunter reached double figures for the 3rd time in 4 games, and USD is back in front by 4. Back comes Forbes. He had 24 points on 11 of 13 shooting. And he can dish it too. Finds Joe Reed to tie the game at 52. Dons would lead by 2 with just over 3 minutes to play. But the Cardiac Coyotes find a way again. Casper Bauer with another huge 3. And after Fort Wayne tied it at 59, it's Norris from 17 feet. That gave USD the lead for good. Coyotes close it out at the line and hold on for a 64-62 win, their 5th road victory in 9 games. That's 3 more than they won all of last season on the road. Larson led the way offensively while Casper Bauer chipped in 11, and USD, which wins for the 5th time in 6 games, improves to 2-1 in the Summit League. The Coyotes are getting it done on the road, and Craig Smith says it's time to find that same success at home. We'll cover that and more with USD's head coach when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
Well, fresh off a first ever win at Denver, the USD men visited another place they had never won before on Saturday at Fort Wayne, and the Coyotes did it again. They get another road win, and Jay Elsen joined now by head coach of the Coyote men, Craig Smith. And Craig, Fort Wayne, obviously a very difficult place to play, as the Coyotes had learned in the past by not ever figuring out a way to get it done there. And of course, coming into the season, the Mastodons were the preseason favorite. You knew you were going to have a challenge. But your team responded well, and it started again with a great start offensively.
Yeah, we got off to a quick start, threw in some threes. Casey got one right away, and Trey Burnett did, and Tyler, and kind of got us. It's always good when you're on the road to play from in front, and to be able to jump on them 10-3, I believe it was, to start with, was the ideal way to get going.
They were equally good, even a little bit better offensively in that first half, at least from a percentage standpoint. They shot 58%. Hit some threes of their own, but you still managed to go into the break with a 1-point lead. Did you feel pretty good about that, given how well they were doing?
We did. I mean, Evans and Forbes were just relentless on us. They were 11 for 15 in the first half combined, and we just didn't have much of an answer for either of them. And so we made a few adjustments, in particular on Evans, with some screen and roll defense and with the matchup, and that really, really helped us that way. And Forbes is just, I mean, you can't describe how good he is. He's a very good player. He's like Shaquille O'Neal, of the Summit League. I mean, he's however tall and however wide, and he's got exceptional hands, very good feet, and incredible touch. And we brought doubles as much as we could, which we were effective when we got there. But when he got us in single coverage, he made us pay, as evidenced by his 11 for 13 shooting from the field.
Bottom line, it wouldn't be Coyote basketball this year, at least, if it didn't come down to the wire.
Yeah, I mean,
and this one did. It got real interesting late again.
We're just not that type of team where we're going to blow many teams out. All of our wins have really come down to the last minute, with the exception of 2 games. And so we have to be very good in late game situations. We have to find easy ways to score. It's not going to be real pretty most of the time. We're going to have to find ways to win ugly. And the last game was the most balanced we've had on the year. Larson led us with 14, Kasperbauer had 11, but then we had 4 other guys that had 8 to 10 points as well. And so that's a good sign for us. If we can stay balanced that way, I like where we're going.
Special night for Brandon Boss in the win. 44th player in USD history to reach 1,000 points.
Yeah, I mean, to score 1,000 points, no matter where you're out at in Division I college basketball, I mean, you are one heck of a player. And Brandon's just a total package. He's a straight A student. He's active in the community, and certainly he lets his game do his talking. But he's a special kid and a heck of a player, and we're very fortunate to be able to coach him for a year.
And you get to head home, and I know that's something that's somewhat sweet for you. It's been a while since you've got the chance to play at the Dakota Dome, but you've got at least a quick stop on Wednesday against North Dakota State, a team that's playing very well at this point.
Yeah, it's interesting. We've been on the road so much this year, it almost feels like the road is home for us. I mean, it's a little bit of an anomaly. We've not played well at home, and we need to change that in a hurry because North Dakota State's a really good team. Lawrence Alexander's the leading scorer in the league, and you watch their first game of the year in conference play against Oral Roberts. I mean, he just simply takes over that game, scoring 24 points in like the last 10 to 12 minutes, and he was not going to let their team lose that game. And then they have a lot of really good pieces around them, and Corey Brown and the Jacobson kid as a freshman is very good. So they're doing a great job putting their guys in position to have a lot of success. They eliminate losing. They don't turn it over. They don't foul, and they defend very, very well. And so it's going to be a great challenge. They're picked to win the league now in terms of Joe Lenardi, picking them getting to the NCAA tournament. And we haven't beat those guys for right around 10 years. So it's going to be a great opportunity, great challenge for us on Wednesday night.
Another challenge Saturday then as you get back on the road, at least for a short trip to Brookings. And that's a place you have not had a lot of success since the series has resumed either.
Yeah, I'm a history major, so I went back and looked at all that stuff. When, last time we won at Frost Arena, last time we beat North Dakota State was when I was an assistant at North Dakota State. I had a full head of hair then, Jay, so it was a while ago. But, South Dakota State's really good. And they've had 3 of their 4 games in league have been on the road. They're exceptionally good at home. Both these teams have dominated the Summit League the last 3 years. In particular, all three, South Dakota State going to 2 NCAA tournaments, and then North Dakota State winning the league and going last year. And so, a great challenge for our guys this week. We're aspiring to be where they are. And it's going to be an incredible challenge, but what a great opportunity in front of us.
We are looking forward to seeing it. Good luck to you. We'll see you back here to talk about it next week.
Thank you, Jay.
All right, thanks, Craig. Well, Coach Smith and the Coyotes certainly going to be counting on another big week from Tyler Larson, who is putting together a stellar senior season. We'll have more on him when we come back.
Coyote Corner on Midco Sports Network is presented by BillionAuto.com.
Tyler Larson has done a lot of everything for South Dakota men's basketball team this season. In his first year as a starter, the senior guard leads the Coyotes in scoring, rebounds, and assists, and has become the linchpin in a team with very real postseason aspirations. For more on Larson's path to success, here's Alex Heiner.
It's been a year to remember already for South Dakota guard Tyler Larson. Just 2 months into his senior season, he's had his share of buzzer beaters, historic road wins, and has earned some silverware in the process. To fully appreciate what Larson's doing this year, however, you have to remember what he's been through. Back in the fall of 2012, his first year in the South Dakota program, an ACL-MCL tear forced Tyler to sit out the entire season and beyond.
I was playing really good before my injury, and that was devastating to me and my family and the team. Like, everybody's really sad that I went through that injury. I tried to come back a little bit early, just playing one-on-one with my teammates, and I went to the doctor, got an MRI, and they said, like, you slightly tore it again. So I had to get another surgery, which made me have to sit out 3 to 4 months, and I couldn't even be there for the first practice last year.
2 surgeries and nearly 12 months later, Larson's return to the court coincided with a few physical reservations that he had to overcome.
I was kind of tentative at first, but as it got going, I realized that, there's nothing to be tentative about. Like, you only live once. If it's gonna happen, it's gonna happen.
If you're out there, worrying about your knee and worrying about getting injured, I'm sure you're a little more tentative than maybe you normally would be.
When I got to finally play, it was I just wanted to be on the court. I didn't care what my role was. I wanted to contribute, obviously, but I just was happy to be back out there.
After admittedly being slowed down by a knee brace during his junior season, Larson looks like a different player this year. The senior from Las Vegas has started every game for Craig Smith and has become one of USD's and the Summit League's best all-around players.
There's not much the kid can't do. Look what he's done in the league so far. He's the 3rd leading scorer in the conference. He's the leading rebounder in the conference at 6'3", and he's 4th in assists. I've been in this business for 19 years, and I know I've never coached a guy that's been able to do that, and I don't ever recall seeing another player that's done that in any league, whether it's been the Big Ten or the Mountain West.
I've always been a versatile player, but, it feels good to be able to do it on a national level this year.
National attention came Larson's way following his heroics in the dying moments on the road against Creighton. The senior hit 2 threes with seconds to play to force overtime, including the game-tying shot at the buzzer.
He's on my hip. I just kind of gave him a nudge, and he just happened to fall really hard. And I was wide open. I was like, okay, you better make this, because the last shot wasn't wide open and you made it. So now you're wide open, and your team is depending on you to make this shot, and stepped up to the plate.
Even though the Yotes lost that game in double overtime, the confidence gained from sticking with a perennial NCAA tournament team helped propel South Dakota to wins in 5 of their following 7 games over the holiday season. The hot shooting and all-around excellence from Larson during that stretch earned him the Summit League's Athlete of the Month for December, an award well-deserved according to his head coach.
He really knows how to play. He understands the game. He's got tremendous feel for the game. He has so much pride in who he is and what he's about. And no challenge is too big for that kid, and he's been a pleasure to coach.
Individual accolades aside, Larson is focused on team success in 2015. Having already surprised many with a strong start to the conference season, the senior has the belief that his squad can continue to build towards something special at year's end. Not through talent or style points, but with heart.
We might not have the height or we might not have the athleticism, but everybody on our team will never stop fighting, and we always think we're in a game to win it. We just believe in each other, we believe in our coaches, And we believe in just this university. You know, we believe that we can do it.
Well, Larson's certainly not short on confidence. He told us without a trace of cynicism, he feels the Yotes can play with anybody in the country, and that includes #1 Kentucky. Now, if the high level of play he and his team have shown so far continues, he might get to test that theory come mid-March, Jay.
Yeah, you never know, especially with the race in the Summit League appearing to be wide open. Thanks, Alex. Well, first things first, though, it's a big week for Larson and the Coyotes as they prepare to face their two biggest rivals. Up first will be defending Summit League champion North Dakota State on Wednesday night. NDSU, the only team in front of USD in the standings as of right now, and if that isn't motivation enough, the Coyotes will also be looking to snap a 6-game losing streak against the Bison. Tip time, 7 o'clock here on Midco Sports Network. Midco SN will also be in Brookings on Saturday for the Coyotes matchup with South Dakota State. USD hoping to find a way to win at Frost Arena. They are 0-3 on the Jacks' home floor since the series resumed in 2012. Same two opponents for the women. Amy Williams hosting the surprise of the Summit League, North Dakota State, on Thursday night in what will be USD's first home game since December 21st. That, too, will be live on Midco Sports Network. Aaron Johnston and the Jackrabbits will invade the Dakota Dome on Saturday in the first meeting between the two teams since last year's Summit League semifinals. Amy Williams looking for her first regular season win over the Jacks in that one. Game slated for 2 p.m. So a huge weekend for Coyote Hoops, and we will, of course, be back here to recap all the action for you next week on another episode of Coyote Corner. Until then, I'm Jay Elsen. Thanks for watching.